Hey my friends, thanks for joining me here. If it's your first time here, welcome. And if you've been here before, then welcome back. It's great to have you again. Today I'm going to be talking about the fact that it has been a year and 11 months, 23 months since I last dyed my hair. If that's what you're interested in hearing about, then you are in the right place. We have that coming right up. It's been an interesting time. I think that going into growing out our own hair, we prepare ourselves mentally as best as we can. We've looked at a lot of pictures, watched a lot of videos before we've made the decision and jumped in usually. And then even once we've gotten started, we tend to look at more pictures and more videos as much as we possibly can along the way. It helps to keep us excited, inspired, and feeling like we're moving along. But it also kind of sets us up in a way, I think, at least in my case, it's what I tended to recognize, for a little bit of frustration and disappointment, because as we're looking at those pictures and those videos, we tend to notice the women in particular, or the men, who have hair texture like ours, and especially if they have a hairstyle that's similar to ours, we start to picture ourselves kind of like with maybe a cross between what their hair looks like and what we then imagine the translation to be on our hair. And in our mind's eye, we can picture it in its full grown out state. But then we have the reality that we see in the mirror, which is only growing out approximately 1/2 of an inch per month. It takes a while because as we keep going back and forth in our mind between the picture of our final transition as we imagine it to the best of our ability, and then what the startling reality is in the mirror, it can make it seem like a frustrating, very slow process. Sort of like when we were kids waiting for either our birthday party or the holiday festivities where a lot of presents are going to be given out. And in our anxiousness and excitedness, it makes those days and maybe about a week or two or maybe a month leading up to the occasion seem like it's taking slower than time usually goes by. In this case, though, it's even worse because it's not maybe 2 to 4 weeks or so of anxiousness before the big event arrives. We start to realize, even though we know in our head, theoretically, we understand, logically, mathematically, going into it, approximately how long this is going to take. But still, once you're in the midst of it, and if you've already started and been doing this for a while, you probably can really relate. It just starts to seem like this is really going to take forever, even though we mentally prepared ourselves for that already up front and knew it. It still has a startling factor to it. This is going to take forever. All right. Anyway, let's take a look at my hair. I do have a lot of things to say about it. And one thing I can tell you is that, especially in these very uncertain times with everything going on in the world, and people's health being of concern, it's always of concern, in some ways, especially when we're not kids anymore. Although certainly a person at any age can suffer ailments. But just in general, as people tend to get older, sometimes they can take on more and more challenges within their health. So we kind of know that. But right now, there's this extra concern going on, and it just makes me doubly glad, maybe triply glad, or maybe 100 times glad that I no longer am putting the harmful chemicals on my hair that I was when I was dyeing it. So yeah, here is some of my hair growth. I'm sorry, it's incredibly noisy outside my house today. It's really fascinating because we actually, as you probably know, and probably just about anywhere in the world that you are at this point, everyone is basically on lockdown, but not everywhere is being policed. Let's just say, I'm going to say policed as lack of a better word, because some places have military personnel enforcing all of this. And I think it's nice in a way if you don't have to have that, but then it would also be very helpful if people would actually follow the social distancing protocol, because they are being outlined. I was going to say advised, but it's more than an advice. Like, it's what everyone is supposed to be doing. You literally are supposed to be doing that, but not everybody is. And so I've just been having some interesting situations with my next door people over there, where it's become like a lot of the time it's become social hour, and a lot of people coming to visit, and kids from different areas of the neighborhood coming over to play, and it can become very, very, very noisy outside. In addition to the noise, which can be, you know, something that I don't know is going to take place at any given point in time when it's going to start up, but unfortunately, what's worse is the safety of it, and if it could be putting not only themselves at risk, but anybody else as well. And I think that's an important thing that maybe people should really take at least a thought about. Like, even if someone is not worried about this for themselves, if they just don't think that there's anything to worry about, and I know some people that feel that way, and at first I wasn't sure either. At first I really wasn't sure if this was really something to worry about, but I still, even at the time I wasn't sure, I still was careful. I still took precautions, not only for myself, but for other people too, because what if I was wrong? You know, I don't want that responsibility on me, that because I didn't think there was anything to fear here, that if I then was not taking action in the proper way to be careful about potential exposure, just in case there was something to be concerned about, that not only could I be putting myself at risk, but I could also then be putting other people at risk. And that is not right. That is really not right to do. All right, so anyway, let me know in the comments below what you think about that. I'd love to hear your opinion, and about anything else. Let me know if you've started growing out your hair, if you're thinking about it, if you have any questions about it, if you haven't started, or even if you have started, if you still have questions about it. I may have an answer, I may not, but some people who do frequent my videos might also have some answers as well, and they usually are a helpful, friendly bunch. So go ahead and write your question or messages below. I'm sure that they will be well received.